we're back on the road, and I wanted to do a little introductory video to what these videos are going to be about, because they're fairly long, but there's a lot of cool stuff in there as far as places to go, what to do, you know, what the areas are. Nothing real detailed, because there's so many things to see there. You know, just kind of give you the brief highlights. So you'll notice partway through the video, I'll reference Stonewall Inn, and that's one of the places that we walked by when we first came into the city. But I deleted that video because I don't want anybody to misconstrue the information of what I was trying to say. I just don't like the fact that they put a national monument in a place that the protest, you know, became so intense. I mean, the police were trying to make some arrests on a raid, and people were, you know, resisting, and then the police got more aggressive, and people got more aggressive, and next thing you know, they were trying to basically murder the police officers. You know, they're throwing bricks at them, you know, and anybody gets hit in the head with a brick definitely could cause a traumatic brain injury and kill somebody. And then once they retreated, they were trying to, you know, light the building on fire that they were inside. You know, so anyway, I just don't like the fact to celebrate that there's a national monument in that area, and that's just my opinion. I don't you know, we're all entitled to our opinions, and that's mine, and I don't want anybody to misconstrue that information and think that I was trying to say anything different than just that I don't personally think that the monument should be there to celebrate the kind of history where we are trying to kill first responders. So anyway, the rest of the video is going to be all about different places to go in New York City, what to see, some information about the areas as we go through, and we're also going to touch on PTSD and anxiety. If you have watched any of the other videos, I created this channel so you can just see somebody who has PTSD and kind of understand like what life might look like through their eyes. And so if you know somebody, maybe it'll bring a little bit of understanding. And if you are that person, you know, with PTSD or anxiety, and like I said before, it doesn't have to be from a first responder's perspective. I mean, you could have a super traumatic event that happened to you, from abandonment in childhood, you know, to rape, to a bad accident, to, you know, horrible relationship issues. I mean, trauma is trauma, and people can have PTSD and bad anxiety from just an array of situations. So this channel, you know, will cover some of that perspective, and so we touch on a little bit of that as we are talking about New York City and some of the places we go. We'll give you a little bit of background on the places and information to hopefully help you have a better trip to the city. So down in Washington Square, this guy is a real person bouncing for tips. Come down here, you'll smell weed in the air. If you go down to this tree and look up, there'll be a bunch of pigeons. And sometimes there's an older guy feeding the pigeons.
Homeless people washing their laundry in the fountain.
So this lady right here was just washing their laundry in the fountain. New York University surrounds this place. There's the monument you always see in all the movies. They put up a really cool Christmas tree at Christmas time right there. So we rode the subway uptown a little bit to the Museum of Natural History, and we haven't been up here in a few years. Of course, Night at the Museum was filmed here, and since we've been here last, they took Theodore Roosevelt's statue down. So they said it was a racist statue. Of course, it's been there forever and forever, but it was depicting history the way that it was at the time all this was founded. And one more thing, I guess, that's getting taken out, and nobody will know that. So anyway, grab a pretzel while you're up in New York, because they always have great pretzels. Just ask them if it's fresh, because otherwise you might get one that's been in there for a while, kind of stale. The park is right across the street. Okay, so we're in Central Park now, and I just wanted to add something into this video. I've been making some videos of our travels in the RV and different places we're going, places you might want to stop and see, kind of reviews of different areas that we see. But also, I started this as a way to talk about PTSD and anxiety, depression, all that kind of stuff, because I was diagnosed with anxiety, MDD, and PTSD, and all that stuff. So I was a firefighter paramedic, and I dedicated about 10 years of my life to fire and EMS. So I volunteered, then I did it part-time, then I did it full-time. When I did it full-time, I took on extra shifts whenever I could. I worked at 2 other departments part-time, and sometimes working 4 or 5 day 24-hour shifts in a row. And so I added a lot of anxiety and stress to my own life. And when I didn't have the downtime. So if you are a first responder and you get those time off for your downtime, you know, man, you just got to take it so your body can process it. And so I didn't do that. I just kind of submerged myself in that. And with all the trauma that came with it, and I didn't process it, it caused me problems later. And so what that ended up being is I ended up with an injury and some personal problems happened at the same time. My fire career came to an end. I did a lot of rehab on the injury, wasn't supposed to lift more than 10 pounds. I talked about surgery, all kinds of stuff. And with that came a lack of sleep. And next thing you know, the anxiety got out of control. And the PTSD was out of control. So not sleeping and in pain and just lots of problems. So I started doing this YouTube channel as a way to hopefully reach people with PTSD and anxiety who are living in the same kind of life I was, avoiding certain things, avoiding certain areas, certain people, arguing with your family a lot, pushing people away that are close to you, having excuses for everything that seems justified in your head, and really kind of avoiding things, hyper-vigilant, and just having a lot of maybe struggles that you're not addressing. So I was there, that's what I did. I've been there for a while, and so we took on this deal. I went on YouTube and I said, hey, here's what PTSD looks like from my point of view, and kind of going on here, so I'm going to move on. But I just basically want to say, so if you started watching this particular video, you saw that the first place we got off the train is we get in the train, it's fairly busy, and I'm trying to do things that are out of the comfort level. So we take a train into New York City, path train from Jersey City, and you know, the anxiety was a little bit high, and honestly I was kind of wanting to just avoid today and wait till tomorrow to come in the city. But you know, I'm trying to avoid the avoidance and just do the things I really want to do. So we come in, our pulse is a little bit high, my anxiety is high. One of the first stops, you get out and you're at Stonewall Inn, and as I said in there, you know, I mean, I've got friends that are gay, I've got family that is gay, and you know, everybody's got their own thing they want in life, and this is America, and you can do whatever you want. So you know, I'm me, you're you, but when I first saw that, the history of that hit me. And if you don't know the history, I put it out there. You know, I mean, the gay community was trying to murder cops as they were standing up for themselves. But they weren't just protesting, they were trying to murder cops. And so I've got a problem, you know, I mean, with that. I think they should do their monument, you know, somewhere beside the spot where they're trying to murder cops. And I think that when you have a general, you got a general from the war that park's dedicated to for, I mean, 100 years more, that we shouldn't erase that part of history and minimize that to elaborate on that kind of behavior that happened. And then, so that kind of made my anxiety go a little bit up, became a little more defensive. And then we go to the Museum of Natural History, you know, and we saw that the monument's gone, the statue of Roosevelt's gone. That was supposed to be like a heroic type deal, you know, Roosevelt and the African American tribes, you know, that were the African tribes that ended up, you know, being over in America, and now, you know, the American Indians I mean, it was a heroic deal, and it's supposed to depict that, but it's been somehow changed to something that was disrespectful. And it's like, man, I just don't like it when things are deleted. And learn from your mistakes, you know, and keep that history. This is how I feel. So the stress was kind of up. We got on the subway, we took a ride, and did a little meditation, a little TM meditation. And that really, you know, helps with anxiety. Went through Warrior Path. If you watch the first video, you know that. But through Sheepdog, if you look up Sheepdog or Boulder Crest Warrior Path, went through Warrior Path. And part of that was learning meditation, and it's TM. And so I did that on the subway. Anxiety came down. We came over to the park to kind of get out of the city for a little bit. And it's really quiet out here. And if you come to New York City, you can come over to the park and you will kind of just get away from almost everybody, and you get an area with hardly anybody's around, and birds and squirrels and rabbits and water. Okay, so I just wanted to add that in there. So my stress has been high, and earlier in the video you might have been able to see it. Plus this morning, as we came through an area I used to live, I stopped at a couple places and addressed some childhood experiences that were pretty traumatic, which is, again, those came out. Didn't even address those. They never seemed to be really a problem. They were kind of a buried problem, and through, once everything else came out and started having the nightmares about FD calls and all that, next thing you know, those childhood things started becoming a problem. So I've been dealing with those, and so I dealt with that this morning. So if you've got problems and you don't want to just admit it, at some point you got to admit it. You got to move on, because we actually get stronger when we finally own all of our mistakes and accept everything that actually happened to us as just being things that happen to push us. And even now, no matter how stressful it was, it just makes you a better person in the end. And once we accept it and learn from it and take responsibility and not being a victim, you know, life just seems to get better. And it has for me, and it's taken me a long time to get to that point. So if you're in that spot, I hope that you're making progress and you take some steps to struggle well, as they say. And so anyway, I want to throw that in the New York video, since that's where we are, and that's where now I'm experiencing it, because some of that struggle came back and some of that stress was coming back. So we're going to walk around, see some more stuff in the city, and we'll go from there. So if you're looking for a nice spot to eat, you can come over here to the Boathouse. Seen this in movies, I'm sure, where they eat right on the water. You can rent a boat for like 20 bucks and row around there if you want before dinner. So we're right up from the Boathouse, and where are we at?
Bethesda Fountain.
Yep.
It's right at the end of the mall as you come in Central Park.
And we'll show you the mall. She doesn't mean shopping. She means a path. So this is coming up the stairs from the fountain. By the way, if you need a bathroom, there's not a whole lot of them in New York, but if you're in the park, those are 2 public bathrooms there. And this is the mall. The mall walk. Huge sidewalk with benches down each side. I don't know, probably going 150 yards. Everyday heroes. Living the dream job. So we're in Columbus Circle. That's the corner of the park over there. Trump Hotel over here. Behind you is a mall. It's got a restaurant up there. And if you go downstairs, if you're looking for the bathroom around here, there's another bathroom that goes downstairs in a grocery store. So come in these doors, there's a grocery store down there with a bathroom and food. So all kinds of food. It's like a buffet. You can just put in what you need. Italian, sandwiches, sushi, all kinds of stuff. Desserts, bakery, and it's all good food. Okay. So everywhere we're going, all around the city, tons of restaurants turn one side of the street into their own little dining. Guess it's secondary to COVID. We haven't been here since pre-COVID. Some of them are even isolated to your own little like cubicle, so you have your own little room. And so you can tell the people that have been around New York for a while, they'll actually just go when no cars are coming versus waiting. A lot of people just wait, even though there's no cars anywhere around. They just wait. So anyway, here's Trump Tower. Tiffany and Company, the New York Horn Hawks. Everybody loves to honk their horn. More of the everyday heroes there. All right, so this was originally called the Gotham, one of the first skyscraper hotels in New York. 1905. Right next to this super old, amazing church. And just a couple blocks down from Trump Tower. Side view here of St. Patrick's Cathedral. And if you come down, you can also go downtown to Little Italy and make your way over to the original St. Patrick's Cathedral. And it's got some catacombs underneath it. You can do a tour. So we came into St. Patrick's Cathedral. Now, though this building is really old, there is the older original St. Patrick's Cathedral downtown. There's some catacombs underneath it. You can walk through on a tour. It's actually the scene, the opening scene in The Godfather with the baptism is actually in that old one. But anyway, this is the inside of the newer one. Came in here just to sit down, say a prayer. You can light a candle for anyone you might be praying for. I came in here, and I'll just tell you, I came in here and said a prayer for all these firefighters and cops that are around here and just in the world in general, for all the military service that's out there. Good reminder of that as we're walking around today. It's Fleet Week, and we've got the Coast Guard, Navy, and the Marines walking around in uniform. You know, I say, oh yeah, everyday heroes, but really they are. I mean, they're out there working for lower wages than they can make doing a different job, so they can be out there trying to provide, because that's, you know, provide safety and health and security and all that for all the rest of us. So it's an amazing job that everybody that does it, that they do it, that they're willing to do it. And you know, it's not just putting their life on the line. You'd say, well, you know, they might not ever get killed. Only limited numbers get killed, but hey, that's still a big chance to take. And even if you don't lose your life doing those careers, you could walk away from it with PTSD and anxiety and some things that you have to work through. So anyway, pray for those people. And if you make your way to the city, come in, check out this church, and maybe say a prayer yourself. Rockefeller Center, ice skating in the winter, and now roller skating in the summer.
This is called Manhattan Hinge. It's only, the sun sets here one day a year, usually on Memorial Day weekend, which is kind of cool, perfectly between the buildings.
Okay, it's a pretty long video, so this is the last one we do on this one. And have to get Times Square in if you come to New York City. This is an average Saturday night, it looks like these days. Standing on the red stairs. Back side of the stairs, right inside here, is actually a really cool restaurant. You can sit by the windows and overlook. You just walk right around the right side of the building, you can make your way in. All right, there's so much to see and do in New York City. You had to make a several-day trip out of this. And we didn't even go towards downtown, towards the 9/11 area yet, or of course the Brooklyn Bridge, Little Italy, Madison Square Garden. I mean, it just goes on and on. You go over to Brooklyn and Bronx and up into Harlem. You can go to Edgar Allan Poe Cottage, the original cottage up there. The Hamilton home is still here. Trinity Church. I mean, it's just, there's so much to see here. All right, so that's all we're gonna do for this one. So we'll call this part 1.